The Minnesota Senate race. What very well could be the most important and most underrated Senate race this cycle could in fact determine the Senate majority. And I'll tell you why. But before we begin, if you guys do enjoy these videos, hit the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, and yeah, try to get us to 6K subs before Election Day. That would be appreciated. And right. So, Tina Smith, the Democrat, has a real challenger in Jason Lewis. This is an important race for the Republicans, and I'll tell you why. So, this Senate race is a complete sleeper that could possibly flip for the Republicans. And if they flip Minnesota's Senate race, let me just say that I think that at that point you would see McSally winning in Arizona. This is a pretty big indicator. If Minnesota flips for the Senate-wise, that could be a good indication that McSally may just barely hold on in Arizona. And this would be inclined to say Republicans would have a net gain in the Senate this cycle. Instead of a net neutral thing or net loss, they would get a net gain if this goes according to my prediction, right? I'm not going to say this can happen, but in this scenario. So, what happened in the 2018 special election for the Senate? Well, Tina Smith got very lucky. That's all I'm going to say. You see all of these counties up here in the north and down here in the south a little bit. Well, yeah, you notice something. Pretty Republican counties. The only ones that weren't really Republican counties is Mahoma and Clay County. Other than that, she didn't win anywhere of note. These were a lot of counties that are trending Republican, and Trump won by good margins. And this was really a fluke when you look at the Minnesota Senate race. She got very lucky. This was a blue wave here, right? And her competitor, Karen Housley, I believe that's how you pronounce her name, she was a garbage candidate. That's all I'm going to say. And it's just pathetic. She ran a terrible campaign in Minnesota. And Tina Smith got lucky that a lot of the legacy Dems, right, that voted heavily for Trump, didn't have Trump on the ballot, so they're not going to vote Republican. But they are now. This is why I'm saying that up here in the north, Jason Lewis is not going to have to worry about it. Up here, he's going to win basically all the counties Trump will win up here, right? Maybe a tiny bit less than what Trump would do, but if Trump can make improvements in places like Lake County, probably flip it, Carleton County, St. Louis County, make it incredibly close, that's a lot of votes. That's around 15,000 votes right here, alright? Again, Jason Lewis is not going to run exactly what Trump is going to be up here. But if Trump can just make improvements in the entirety of the North, like I think he will, like make these tilt red to light R counties, like likely R to safe R, and just flip a few of the Iron Range counties, Jason Lewis up here will only run like 1% worse than Trump will in a lot of these counties. He has a more appeal to the part of the state where Trump will struggle in, the Minneapolis area. This is the part of the state where the election will be won or lost in, alright? And with Minnesota, there is 2 different bellwethers for each election, alright? For the presidential election, the bellwether is Washington County, alright? You notice Clinton won it by around 2, and she won the state, well, 1.5. She won the state by, and she won the county by 2. Pretty good indicator. If Trump can win Washington, he's going to win the state. In the Senate race, you notice how Tina Smith won the county basically by 10, and she won the state by 10.5. So Dakota County is the bellwether for the Senate. Washington County is the bellwether for the presidential election. Don't ask me how that makes sense, but this is Minnesota we're talking about. So it is very strange. So in a nutshell, if Jason Lewis can flip Dakota County, he's probably going to win the state. And I think he will. Jason Lewis actually has a way better appeal to this part of the state, alright, the Minneapolis area. Mostly because he does not have the rhetoric of Donald Trump, and he is more popular in the Minneapolis suburbs, and that's going to help him big time, alright? So all Jason Lewis really needs is just run just slightly behind Trump in the northern part of the state. Do a little bit better than Trump in the southern part, Like Rochester, I think he'll run probably a point or two ahead of him. But do a lot better than Trump in the Minneapolis area. And he's going to win the Senate race. But you may be saying, oh, the polls, they're all saying that, Jason Lewis is down by 5. Well, looking at the RCP aggregate, look where it was October 19th, just about 2 weeks ago. It was Smith plus 8.3. Now it's Smith plus 5. That's a 3-point swing in a couple weeks. And again, that's still 5 points. It's the end of the world for Lewis. Well, I want to tell you guys for a fact. In Minnesota Senate races, I looked this up, by the way. A 5-point lead is nothing. That's too small of a lead when it's under 50%. I'm going to explain what I mean. So Smith, while having a 5-point lead in the Senate race, right, according to the RCP aggregate, which has flaws in it, but close enough, she isn't hitting 50%. And in Minnesota Senate races, I looked this up. This is important. So, I'll show you what I mean. I pulled up a lot of the Senate races in Minnesota since 2006. Their polling versus their final results. So, 2006, Amy Klobuchar got around 58% of the vote. She got around 56% of the polls, 54%, 55%. So, she overperformed her margins by 2 percentage points. But notice, it was above 50%. Go to 2008. Norm Coleman, for the Republicans, was leading Al Franken by 5, right? But he was under 5%. In a lot of these polls, he was under the 50% threshold, right? He was leading a lot of polls. But not one, other than Quinnipiac in July, was he leading above 50%, right? And you scroll down, and, well, Al Franken won by a couple thousand votes, right? And actually up here, he won by only like 300 votes. So that's huge. You notice how he was under 50% of the vote, and he lost. 2012, Amy Klobuchar again, 60%, 62%, 60%, 65%, 56, 63, got around 65% of the vote. 2014, Al Franken got around just barely above 50% in a lot of these last second polls. He won with 53% of the vote. Just barely above what he was polling, right? 2018, the special Senate race. Or the regular Senate race, sorry. Amy Klobuchar, 53%, 63%, 54, 50, 57. Or up here, sorry. 55, 53, 57. And look, she got 60% of the vote. You noticing a trend here. Whoever has the lead in Minnesota for Senate polls, right, but isn't above 50%, usually loses. If you're not above 50% and you're leading Minnesota Senate polls, that's not good. Because Minnesota Senate polls, they're usually pretty off when they're under 50%, right? When the candidate's under 50%. Now, what about Jason Lewis, alright? What about him? Alright, he still, however, he may break old precedent. He is only polling at, 5-point loss. There's probably no way he's going to win. Well, check this out. 2016, when he ran for re-election his House seat. Look at this. He was predicted to only get around 41% of the vote. Angie Craig was expected to win, alright, with 46% of the vote. Well, it wasn't that big of a margin, alright? They predicted a 5-point victory for Craig. Well, she only won by a point and a half. A point and a half. So really, Jason Lewis overperforms his polls by around 4 percentage points. That's pretty big, alright? And you go back to 2014 polls, alright? Same deal. It goes on and on and on. So I'm telling you, Minnesota Senate polls, or in general Minnesota polls, don't trust the polls, alright? If the leader in the Minnesota polls for a local election or a Senate race is under 50%, the other candidate's probably going to win. It's strange, I know, but Look at it. You see these 6 elections. All of them have a trend. If the leader isn't above 50%, they lose. So yes, if Lewis can get the gap a little bit smaller, alright, Smith might be screwed. Because that's just the trend of Minnesota polls for local races. I know it's cursed, but you get the point. So, my verdict is, it really depends what happens to the RCP aggregate. If Smith gets about 50%, I don't think Lewis will win. But if Lewis can keep the race within 5 and Smith is under 50%, he may win. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, hit the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, and yes, let's try to hit 6K before Election Day. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next video. Goodbye.